Hey you guys, it's Crystal from the Abundantly Blessed Homestead, where we use the wisdom of our ancestors to make amazing, nourishing, delicious meals for our family and grow some of our own food. Today's video is going to be a bit different. Just in case you missed the poll, I did put a poll over on the community page asking which one of the three topics you guys would want for me to make as a post-baby video. And this was one of the ones that was requested. It was a tie for a very long time. So the most in-demand video was what's in my freezer for my freezer meals for post-baby. So I'm going to be making that video as well, and it'll be posted here on the channel. But this was the other video that was also requested, almost a 50-50 tie, which is a story of the birth story. So right now I'm currently nursing Naomi through this video, so we'll see how long she can stay quiet. You guys haven't heard a lot from me because basically after she was born, we've had quite the roller coaster of things to deal with, including like colic, and she wasn't going to the bathroom. And so it's just been kind of a wild ride. I feel like it's simmering out now, but I am very sleep deprived. So you're going to have to excuse if I mess words up here or if I look really tired, it's because I am. Some nights I get really great sleep and other nights not so much. So I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to be live again, you guys, just because of that. I don't expect my older children to care for a colicky baby while I teach you guys how to cook. And so until this calms down a little bit, which it is getting better, we're starting some new protocols and stuff to help. But until it's under control enough where I feel like I can either hand the baby to the older children or strap the baby to me while I cook, the cooking classes are going to be on hold, okay? And I know you guys totally understand that, and you guys are more than understanding of the situation. So anyway, let's talk about the birth story. So I don't have any footage because I'm a very private individual, and I didn't think any of you guys needed to see me naked. So it's just going to be a talking video. Basically, I had start and go labor the week leading up to her birth, and it seemed like the contractions would only start when I was laying down, which I found very, very weird. And then they would usually go from like 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. and then I would get a few hours of sleep and then have to wake up and take care of the children, which is another reason why I'm so tired. But anyway, basically, every time those contractions would stop and then they'd start up again, when they'd start up again, they started up where they left off. So in other words, if they were every hour before, then the next time that they picked up again, it would be every hour again, or every 30 minutes, or you get the point. So basically, that's how it all started. And I ended up getting so frustrated with it that I was discussing it with my midwife, and she said, maybe you should just try laying down and not getting up. And so that's what we ended up doing. Luckily, my mom only lives 10 minutes away from our farm, so she was able to come get the young kids and just take them for the whole weekend. And then that just kind of blessed me with being able to just lay in bed and see what the contractions were going to do. So basically what ended up happening was I got into bed at around 12:30, like right after lunch, 1 o'clock. And basically the contractions started right away. And as long as I stayed on my left side, they continued. If I got up to go to the bathroom or if I rolled on my right side, they quit, which was really, really frustrating. But I just decided, we're just going to give in to whatever's happening here, and we're just going to stay on our left side. So that's what I ended up doing. And fast forward several hours till about 7 p.m., the contractions had finally gotten to every 6 to 7 minutes, which is when my midwife prefers to come. And so I was having a hard time this time deciding when to have her come to the farm, because in the past we've had our babies in a different state. And so we would have already gone to that different state by now. And it didn't feel like an emergency, like I needed a midwife. And so I was really struggling with trying to figure out when to tell her to come. And so basically, I ended up just texting that to her and saying, I don't know when to have you come because I don't feel like it's an emergency. And she responded and said, I don't want it to be an emergency. I want to get there with plenty of time. So I said, well, why don't you go ahead and come anyway? And thank God I did, because as soon as I sent out that text message, my contractions went from every 6 to 7 minutes down to every 3. So they escalated quite quickly. The midwife was only 30 minutes away. And so when she arrived, her and her assistant started setting up the birth pool and everything for me in case I wanted to use it. And we had a playlist of 8 hours of clean comedians that we were listening to. I really enjoy laughter, and I enjoy smiling. And I enjoy even laughing while I'm in labor, because not only does it increase your oxytocin and keep your labor moving quicker, but it's fun. It's fun to laugh in between contractions and realize that life is short and we need to laugh and have fun with it. So all the midwives were laughing, and we were laughing through the jokes. And then even when things got very serious for me, I stopped laughing. But it was actually really enjoyable to hear the people around me still laughing. I love bringing people smiles and joy, and I enjoy hearing that people are joyful, even if it's not so much for me at the moment. So I really enjoyed that part of my labor in general. Anyway, at one point in time, I had a really strong contraction, and I just knew my water was going to break, and so I said I wanted to get in the pool, so we did. And what do you know, next contraction, that water broke. And then I thought for sure I was going to be pushing a baby out, because that's how all of my other labors have gone. My water breaks right before I push them out, and then we're off. And I thought, man, this is going to be a very easy labor, because it was only like 9 o'clock at night. That's not how things went. So it turns out that, and we didn't know this until she was born, Naomi had her head sideways. And so because of that, things just had to happen differently. So my body had to dilate rather quickly, but it took 3 hours, and it was all excruciating, intense type contractions. And so that part of the labor was really hard. It was actually probably the toughest end to labor I've ever had. And we didn't know why, like I said, until she was born and her head had come out. Instead of the crown coming out first, it was the side of her head. And it starts with an A. It's a really long name. I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, put it down in the comments down below. But let me tell you, it's very painful. And so while I didn't have any damage, we'll say that way, from the situation happening, I have had a really rougher recovery as far as my body trying to put itself back together. It only took me 4 pushes to get her out, so that's great. She was very tiny. She was only 6 pounds, 6 ounces. So I'm very thankful that she was smaller, because had she been an 8-pound baby, it would be a different story for my body. But anyway, she was born, and when she was born, she wasn't breathing. And so my midwife carries oxygen, and I don't exactly know what it is, but it's a mask that they, try to get a breathing pattern going for the newborn. So anyway, they did that, and she ended up breathing after that. But she had a lot of swelling in her face just because of the way she was born. So anyway, pretty much post-birth, I had an amazing birth team, an amazing midwife. They handled everything. And they were there for several hours afterwards to clean up, and then they left. And that's pretty much where it got harder for me. I got a couple hours of sleep, but because her face was so swollen, she was having trouble breathing. And so nursing was really hard, because if you don't have a nose to breathe out of, you can't nurse. And so she was hungry but couldn't nurse, and was congested and had swelling in her face. And so that kind of led into colic, which was like 5 to 7 hours of screaming in the evening. And that gets old really fast. For those of you who have had a colicky baby, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's just a rough road. So anyway, luckily I had a friend come visit me, and she suggested me going on certain probiotics that are for colic, and that has made a huge difference. I also started fennel tea for myself and for her. She's been getting 1 teaspoon a day. And since her and I have been on the probiotics for 4 days, we've been able to reduce the fennel tea by over half now. So we're going in the right direction. We have swung the pendulum the other way as far as gut bacteria goes. But amongst all of that as well, she was very slow to have a bowel movement. So we've had a lot of drama with that. The only thing we haven't had to deal with yet, and hopefully we don't, is jaundice. She looked really great. I stopped taking prenatals about a month before she was due, and instead focused on nutrition solely from food. And I really attribute the non-jaundice to that decision in itself. Removing myself from taking vitamins that have artificial yucky iron in it, and instead replacing it with nutrient-dense foods. So I did things like a whole bunch of liver capsules a day. I make a homemade green mix powder that has a bunch of like spinach and green leafy things in it. And I was taking that every day. And so she was still getting all the nutrition she needed, plus all the other supplements I take, emu oil, cod liver oil, etc. But we just weren't doing a prenatal. And this is the first baby out of 6 that has not had jaundice, not even a smudge. So anyway, that's just been my experience. That's what worked for me. But anyway, so yeah, when I say it's been a little bit of a rough start, you guys, it's been a rough start. But that is our birth story. And she's here and she's doing well, other than all the other things I just listed. She's nursing well. She's maintaining her weight. So we're going in the right direction. But as I said before, I don't know when I'm going to be live again just because of the situation. But I'm going to try and post videos anyway when I have the energy and the quiet moment. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my birth video. If you sat through all 10 minutes of this, thank you. Please give it a thumbs up. And like I said, I'm going to try and still put content out. It'll probably just be pre-recorded videos for a while. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.